Hello and welcome to Rolling with Reviews. I'm Will, and with me as always is the boozy mayor herself,
Sarah.
And today we're doing a review of Old West Empresario. Sarah, tell us a bit about this game.
All right,
how drunk you can get in it.
Very drunk, apparently. In Old West Empresario, players take on the role of an impresario, an entrepreneur tasked with building a prosperous town in newly settled Western territories. Players attract settlers through the clever dice drafting and tile placement. The player who builds the most valuable town with the most population will become the state capital. So, Will, why did we get this?
Well, we were doing a number of math trades, and we were starting to run out of
things to trade for.
Because it's like, we already got that.
Or some of the stuff we wanted isn't out yet.
That's not out yet. Or it's like, oh, well, we had that and we already traded that away, so we don't want it back.
It's amazing how many games I've actually looked at that it's like, well, that's not for us. That's not for us.
So you saw copies of Old West Empresario, and you're like, I'm not sure I even looked into that.
No, it just kind of flew under our radar when it came out.
Yeah. Well, I think most of your radar revolves around Kickstarter.
Right.
And other crowdfunding.
This wasn't a Kickstarter?
I don't think so.
Yeah, TMG did do a few straight to retail, or it was on Kickstarter at a time when I was looking at other stuff.
Right.
Either way, we added it to the list, and we actually managed to get a copy.
Yes.
As you can see.
Which is why it's here.
Yes. So, what do we like about the game?
Well, we like the IP.
Yes.
I especially,
the theme.
Especially like getting the.
You like Old West.
Old West. It's hard to get Sarah into an Old West game because she's like, they're always shooting each other. I don't want to fight.
Yeah, I don't really.
So town building is the best I can do.
Generally speaking, that is true.
Also, like the mechanisms, they're pretty easy to learn, pick up, and go. And with every action, it just moves the game forward.
Right, and there's interesting choices that you can do because there's a lot of different buildings and they interact with each other in multiple different ways. So you really have a lot of choice.
Yeah, in fact, the action itself is simple, but the choice behind how you then follow up is complicated.
Yeah.
So, for example, your turn involves choosing a die, and you will either take one of the two tiles that's associated with that die and either discard it for 3 money, take that card, put it in your town following the appropriate rules, or take that die and activate everything in your town that activates on that number.
Right.
So, pretty simple. However, the tiles want to be adjacent to different things.
Yes.
There's also in-game scoring based on 3 other symbols that appear throughout, whether it's cotton, railroads, and oil, and they all have different scoring metrics.
Right.
Plus, there's also the wanted posters that will have you, I want you to do this sort of thing to get some extra bonus points. So that's an added layer complication. Plus, then you actually look at how your town activates and like, do you want to create an engine where everything operates on a 3?
But then if you don't roll 3s, then your town never activates.
Yeah, then your town's dead.
So you have to, there's a really interesting balance, and you're never sure what's going to be right because the dice roll whatever they're going to roll each time the round starts up again. So it's there's a lot of luck elements to it, especially like how tiles are drawn, since those are drawn randomly, also blind. So there's a lot of different ways that everything can go, and as much as you try to plan, you can only plan so much with this much randomness.
Right.
Okay, I think that covers pretty much everything that we like. So what we don't like, unfortunately, the rules are not the best. We went into this in depth in our Rolling with 2 because there's some cognitive issues.
Yeah, there are a few things that questions will come up and the rules just don't answer.
Nope.
And even elements that we feel really should be in the rules, like tiebreakers, or at the end of the game, coins score points. Every 3 coins scores you 1 point.
It's not stated in the rules, but it's on the score pad, so...
Well, the rules say it's in the score pad.
Right, but hopefully you get a copy of the game with the score pad, because it's possible that that gets lost.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just... things like that just are not fully explained, so you have to go to Board Game Geek or make a house ruling.
Yeah, and you also have a trouble with the names of the tiles.
Yeah, well, part of it is because I have to describe things to Will. I need words for things. If I'm just looking at it, I don't care. I can recognize that that building is the same as that building. But with working with Will, I have to be able to say, well, that's the church, and that's the, I don't know, library, and that's the inn. But if they don't have a readable name, either it's too small or there's no name at all, the back of the rules does have a really good reference, but it doesn't show the picture there.
Yeah.
It just has the name, how it works during the game, and then end game scoring.
Yeah, so she's doing this constant, okay, I see what the tile is.
Right.
I see what the icons are. Let me see if I can use that information to reference all these names and abilities to see what matches up. Well, I know it's not these ones because I know what those are. So it's a monument?
Yeah. Right, exactly. So the good news is you can go by what the ability iconography is at the bottom, because every inn has the same iconography because it does the same thing. Every tile type does the same thing, except when you get to the civic buildings, they're all white, but there's like, I don't know.
Everyone's a different
they're
icon.
unique, I think. So
And
yeah,
then
like
the tribal ones have like 3 different abilities
I thought they
spread
had
out.
like 4 or 5 different abilities, but they all have the same green TP image.
Yes.
So that's good there. But yeah, so there some accessibility challenges just by there not being a name on every single tile.
Yeah.
I think though that is generally it.
Yes.
So who this is for? Mostly going to be casual gamers.
Yeah, it's not a very heavy game.
Right.
It just has a lot of, I don't know who's going to win because, well, there's a lot of point stuff going on.
Right.
As it is, I think you won both games that we played.
Well, we tied on one because we didn't have a tiebreaker.
Oh, yeah, but we did look up that information, found that some years back, it was answered by a designer of the game saying, well, if they had to choose one, they'll probably do victory point tokens, which are little people, and then money.
Yeah.
And you would have won that.
Yeah,
tiebreaker.
I left it though marked as
A tie.
a tie because we
The
don't.
rules don't say otherwise.
Right. So there's that. Hardcore gamers might enjoy this if they're looking for a lighter game. But the big challenge here is, unfortunately, Tasty Minstrel Games is no longer in existence. So copies of their games are just going to get harder and harder to find until hopefully someone else decides to reprint them. Just don't know how much of a demand there is for this game. But like I said, we got it on a math trade, so hopefully there's copies out there for trade if this sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about our ratings.
So for our ratings, we each have 1d6 worth of ratings to give. 1 is low, 6 is high. We give a number, a reason why, add them together, see what it rolled for us. Sarah, what did Old West Empresario roll for you?
It rolled a 3. I definitely enjoy the tile laying. The drafting is really enjoyable. I'm just completely frustrated by the game because of all the random elements. Now Will's probably thinking, but you won the games we played. I know it's about the experience because, again, winning and losing isn't everything, although sometimes that really is important to me.
It really is for
for
her,
some
for some reason.
But I didn't 100% enjoy the gameplay just because of those frustrations of the random elements of the dice not being where I want or not being able to get the tiles that I want. But I do enjoy it, so I think it's a really solid middle of the road. That's why I gave it a 3 out of 6.
That's funny. So I would have given it a 5.
Okay.
Because the way Sarah's explaining it is typically how I approach games. I just like to go with the flow, see how things are. That's not Sarah's play style.
No.
At all. So she even admitted to me this is how she was playing the game. I'm like, well, that's how I played the game. That's how I like playing games. And she's like, it just irks me.
Yeah.
It just irks me. And actually what hits it lower for me, and I'm going to rate it a 4,
Okay.
is because of the frustration with the rules.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's going to be not very available.
Yeah, that's true.
So you're not going to have a lot of people ever talking about this because it's just not going to be pushed by anybody. Mm-hmm. It's going to be harder to find. So I don't want to really talk it up in that respects. And like I said, if it gets less and less out there, then you're going to have less answers if you have questions, and I'm sure you'll have questions if you look at the rules, because the rules just aren't robust enough.
Agreed.
So, would have been higher, but 7 out of 12 is, I'd say, solid for a filler game.
It is solid for a lightweight. The only downside, I really wouldn't put it filler, is only because the length of the game. I still feel like this was closer. Well, it could be just because you and I. No, it's a 45 to 60 minute. I was about to say we played it about an hour.
Yeah.
So it's,
which is actually kind of rare for us.
That is true, but it's because the game always moves itself forward. You can't dilly-dally. You have to keep getting new tiles.
Yeah.
So I do say it's a good light weight but mid-length game. Does that make sense? Yeah. But like you said, it's going to just be harder and harder to get. So if you see a copy for trade, or not too expensive, because don't pay overpriced. I saw some like listings on eBay that for like 60 or 70 bucks, and I'm like, no, I don't personally think the game is worth that. But
yeah, I was actually interested in, I think, Pioneer Days, which was a precursor to this one. Same type of theme,
yes,
spiritually.
Theming, but it's completely different mechanism. I think even completely different designers. It's just
it's another Tasty Minstrel set in
the Old West, but it's the going from East to West Coast, the Oregon Trail type of stuff, and then this would be kind of that, like you said, sequel where you're establishing the town.
Same thing was happening with that, as prices were skyrocketing.
Yeah.
So get it if you can. If not, don't try too hard.
Right. Agreed.
But 7 out of 12. All right, Sarah.
Yes.
Is there a snake in your boots?
I hope not. I don't like snakes.
Good, because we're not on the Oregon Trail. And we've been rolling with reviews. And remember, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can reach out to us on the various social media platforms at
Rolling with Two. That's TWO. We are on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And on YouTube, please like and subscribe.
And if you have time, check out the other content Nanaman has found for you, because remember, he's rolling with you.